This is to those who look to the Most High from the distance, to those who follow the Most High, but from a distant place. And it's similar to the children of Israel in the scriptures when they were leaving out of Egypt. They saw the power of the Most High, even experienced the power of the Most High. They acknowledged that He was a great and mighty power. But a time came when the Most High began to speak audibly to them, to give them His commandments. And they heard the great sounds, and they begged for Him to stop speaking and to just tell Moses and to let Moses relay the information to them. So they felt His greatness, and it was too much for them to deal with that closely. So they preferred a mediator. They preferred distance. It made their flesh uncomfortable to deal with the Most High directly. So they stayed at a distance. And because of this, in this distance, it wasn't long before there came a time where Moses, he was off getting more instructions from the Most High, getting information from the Most High for the people. But because it was taking too long, they went and gathered up gold and created this golden calf. They created an idol to fill that void because they weren't hearing. Now they're not getting any words from the Most High. They're not getting their leader is not there to fill that void, to give that direction. So now they needed this idol to fill that void. So while Moses, who follows the Most High closely, is there getting this download, the people who follow from a distance are off creating an idol because they need this void. So when you follow the Most High from a distance and you never commit to allowing Him to deal with your flesh and to deal with your heart intimately, then you turn quickly to whatever else is available to fill that void. If be it that you need direction, you look to zodiacs and horoscopes. If you need something to be a part of, you celebrate whatever holiday is on the calendar of the world. Be it a relationship that you get involved with, or any other form of entertainment, whatever you can get your hands on quickly, you turn to that to fill that void. And then you turn to the Most High again when you are in need again, or when you're scared, or whatever the case may be, and you seek Him for what He provides for your flesh. Just like in the scriptures, Yahusha, who people call Jesus, Yahusha, the crowds would follow Him, right? They followed Him because of what they saw Him doing. See, Yahusha had His 12 disciples that followed Him closely. He walked closely with them, and He taught, and then He explained things to them as they were walking. And then He had other disciples that were following Him as well, but they didn't follow as closely as those 12 who He taught, but they followed and considered themselves students, but they were a little bit more distant and off. But from there was the crowds of people, just the masses of people who had heard about what He was doing and saw the miracles, and so they followed Him from a distance. And from that distance, while they followed Him, He would feed them, He would do healings, He would teach them. But He would teach them in parables. He would teach them things in a way that not all could understand. But then He would explain it to those who were close. So those who were close would get the intimate understanding that they needed. But those who were far off and their hearts weren't really there, they never would get the understanding. So as the teaching started to go out, and Yahushua would begin to say things that were challenging, and once they got too hard, those who were, those things that He would say would start to challenge their flesh. Those who were distant enough, they can just fade off. When you're at a distance, you can just come and go and nobody really notices. You could fade in and fade out based on your own convenience. So when you're following from a distance, you have an awareness of who He is and what He requires, but you have never truly submitted yourself to His order. It's an option, but as soon as that option isn't convenient anymore, you have other options on the side as well. You're following because of the benefits. You're following because you think maybe you're supposed to, but not because of the nature of your relationship with him, not because of your submission to him, not because of your love for him. And the message from the Abba, from the Father to you, was that it breaks his heart. And what he was expressing was that my people will seek after and follow after anything and everything except for me, except for what I've given them, except for their inheritance, what I've provided for them. They will follow after and seek after and go after everything, literally everything, other than what I have given to them. And I was like, wow. And the message from the Abba is that it breaks his heart. It breaks his heart that we seek after everything because we only want to follow him from a distance. We allow everything else. We follow him, and he's just one option of many options because we don't want him to have our heart. And the message from the Abba, from the Father, is that it breaks his heart. When will you come close? When will you allow him to enter into a space in your heart where he can actually know you and you can actually know him? Because to follow at a distance is not to follow at all. It's an illusion. It's an illusion of following. It's an illusion of following. It's a denial. It allows you to feel like you're actually following him because you can see where he is. You're keeping an eye on him, but you're not actually following. You're not actually his. It's a deception. When you try to follow the Most High from a distance, it's a deception. So the question is either it's like window shopping from the outside of the store. You're not actually shopping. You're just looking in the window. You haven't purchased anything. You don't own anything. You're just looking. It's the same thing with the relationship with the Most High that you try to conduct from a distance. It's like looking in the window of a house that you don't live in. So the Most High says, come into the house so that you can be mine. Come through the door and come into my house and allow me to teach you. And that's the only way. Don't be deceived from the distance. And this is the message to those who have never truly come into the house, but who are following as a crowd in the distance. That it's time for you to come into the house. Shalom.